Alright, this is a video by Gerbert Johnson. It's called How Many Men Are Really Incels?
Have you ever loved somebody and they broke your heart?
Millions of people have been asking me, hey Gerbert, why are you always talking about all this incel stuff? What, do you not have any bitches? Here's the thing about this question. It's a very interesting question in that no one ever seems to ponder the possibility that maybe it's that don't have me. Anyways, I decided to talk to a dating therapist to see if I can find a good match. I don't know, man. I feel like I'm a decently handsome guy. I try to put in effort to my appearance. I work out, whatever. It's just, I don't really know where to start, you know, where to meet girls. I'm just struggling.
Tell me about what kind of girls you're going after. Like, what are you looking for in a woman?
Mixed Asian, half white, half Asian. Big under thighs. Bow! Nice rack. Bing bang. Big tit. Tall. Like, taller than me, 6 foot tall. 130 plus IQ. 32-inch vertical. No tattoos. Debt free. Virgin.
32
Did I say
32-inch vertical.
big? I said big rack, right?
You said big racks, yeah.
Yeah, so that's about it.
Women, they date up. So, what you have to do is you have to schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. The type of woman that you want has to have either 2 or 3 of these mental disorders. Everyone with auras, they have a roster. And in order to create a roster, you need to pray after mentally disabled women. Let's be real, you're white, you're pasty, you are milk,
Yeah.
you are vanilla, you have 0 flavor. There is 0 seasoning to you. How to manipulate an autistic woman. And that's where the dark triad comes in, because the dark triad is quite literally black. No, you're not advanced yet for the dark triad bedroom game. When you meet an autistic woman, and this is obviously gonna be after you've black maxed, right?
Yeah.
After I have this course, it's gonna tell you everything that you need to know about using the dark triad and also the female triad that I told you about earlier. And on top of that, it's gonna teach you all the tricks that you need to take advantage of the schizophrenic. The full course is gonna be roughly $998.86. It is a big investment, but I need you to feel that investment so that you can be invested in this course.
Okay.
You know.
You may have seen this general social survey graph from 2018, but you probably haven't seen the updated version of 2022. The older graph shows that male virginity has supposedly skyrocketed since 2012, but the newer one shows that since then it has plummeted. I, like many other people, even recently, surmised that this was an ongoing trend, only getting worse, especially because it was pre-pandemic. Let's just say the rate of growth was consistent. If we would extend the graph to 2022, the number would be around 38%. But
Whose job is it to walk around and ask people how much sex they're having? Who's getting paid to do that? Like, why is somebody getting paid to do that? And how does this information benefit my life?
Coming to find out that maybe it was just a blip, bald head bitch. Is this whole idea of an ever-growing incel population, women only wanting to
engage with jazz,
leaving many men to be virgins, some sort of illusion? A way of chronically online men to project their own failures onto a larger societal problem? As the saying goes, misery loves company. Is there actually a rising virginity rate? Are more and more men becoming incels? How many incels are there actually? You'll find out in this video. Be sure to like and subscribe, lookofthedead.com for merch. How is it that in 2018 the virginity rate was almost 1/3 of all men, but in 2022 it plummeted? That doesn't even make sense post-COVID. Well, the truth is that these general social study surveys have quite a low sample size. Better data sets with over 10 times the sample size show that virginity is steadily increasing.
So they asked 2,000 people, and then they judged in a country of 350 million people based on what 2,000 people said.
Very marginally. It's not nearly as sensational as the 2018 graph that went viral. Also, in this graph, the rates between men and women are quite similar and following the same trend. Now, again, these are all surveys. It's not like scientists are running around gathering the fiber off of these guys' scrotums to actually prove concretely whether or not they're getting laid. Okay, they could be lying. There could be a Hawthorne effect going on here. But it would be dishonest to say that's what's going on with this newer graph when everybody on the internet took the 2018 General Social Survey graph at complete face value. People will, on the internet, latch on to the most sensational, extreme data there is, even though it's far from the best. And then I did the same thing, drawing all these conclusions. And I mean, there is a slight trend going on, but it's not that crazy. In actuality, you might just be a fucking loser. So, are incels valid? I guess it depends. If it's just about getting laid, there are a lot of girls nowadays that aren't too picky with that sort of thing. They're very loosey-goosey. They've been hopping on Ween like a daily routine long before the day they've turned 18. I suppose you could call them, well, I mean, I'm pretty tolerant. I would call them free, expressive, but I've heard them been referred to as dirty whores. Point is, if you just want to have sex, I really don't think that itself is that hard. I don't find it to be a remarkable feat. I don't think you have to be a particularly impressive guy. You know, I hate to say the cliche thing, but I've seen a lot of conventionally unattractive guys have success with getting laid a lot. They're just outgoing. This whole chat-only thing, it basically all comes from data from online dating, which is a sausage fest that shouldn't be taken seriously. The internet bleeds into real life a little bit, but there are plenty of normal people getting together if you look at the data honestly, or you could just go outside and see them. So how many incels are...
Here's the thing. Like, it just comes from a fundamental misunderstanding of, like, A, what women want from a guy, and then B, like, what guys say that, like, the term incel shouldn't exist because, like he said, like, women really aren't as picky as you might think. So, like, it really has more to do with people being, like, isolated than it has to do with, like, people being involuntarily celibate.
Are there actually? Some people would posit that they don't exist, that any man, if he tries hard enough, can find a partner if he just does the right things, as if human sexuality is completely moral and fair and there's no genetic factors involved. There are some people, some true cells, they're called, in the sort of incel vernacular. Men with autism have a very high chance of being a virgin. I don't think it's really people's place to sit there and gaslight these guys when they're on a fundamentally different social wavelength. So they're valid. Life circumstances do produce genuine incels, but there aren't.
Why is there so much focus on the guys also? Because I see a lot of girl incels, but, like, they just never get talked about. Like, I never understood that. Like, I guess the idea is that, like, the alpha males are, like, you know, doubling up on women, so, like, more women would. But no, there's actually way more women than there are guys. So I don't know. It's really weird.
A lot of them, they're actually relegated to the bottom percentages of men. Not like many people would claim that the bottom 80% of men aren't getting any action whatsoever. Even guys that might consider themselves incels or incel adjacent usually aren't going to be that. I'm not even sure if a lot of self-identified incels are even less attractive than the average guy. There are a select few of true cells, but really for most guys, it is a matter of standards.
True self.
How low are you willing to go? I can go use these apps or go get drunk enough to be sociable and pork a 4. If you haven't, it might sort of eat away at you. You might think it's way more impactful and better than it actually is. But if you do it, you realize there's nothing there. It's quite pointless and kind of gross. So I'm not technically involuntarily celibate. And despite what the internet would tell you with cherry-picked bad data, most men aren't. But it's not like the...
You know what? I like what he said there. It's kind of gross. Casual sex is gross. Like, I'm glad somebody else said it, because I've been thinking that forever. Casual sex is gross, dude. Like, regular sex is pretty gross, but casual sex is disgusting. I don't fucking know you. Why am I swapping fluids? I don't know what you've done. You know? That's a crazy thing to do. Like, you wouldn't, like, it gives me, like, when those kids, like, back in elementary school, they used to, like, put their whole mouth on, like, the drinking fountain. That's what, like, casual sex is. It's gross, dude.
These goofy internet words actually mean anything.
Back when I was growing up, we used to call dudes virgins. Like, meaning, like, you had no experience whatsoever. Like, that made sense. Like, but, like, the word incel doesn't really make sense because, like, maybe you just don't want to have casual hookups. You know what I mean? Like, you shouldn't be made fun of for that. Being a virgin, maybe, because it's like, you got to get out there and try it once. You know what I mean?
These goofy internet words actually mean anything anyways. But does this mean that there are no legitimate gripes? There are no good points raised by these guys? Is dating today completely fine and you're just a loser if you have problems with it? I suppose it would be fair to call me an incel, because when I look at postmodern dating, when I look at the state of relationships today, I do hate it. I do despise almost everything that I see. I think it's deeply twisted and all fucked up. Allow me to define my parameters for a successful relationship. The longest running study of human happiness is quite thorough. It's been going on for 70-something years, studying the same sample group. Frequently, there are check-ins. They don't just give these people surveys. They do blood work, brain scans, test every measure of their mental and physical health, which are correlated. What did they find, you ask? Well, people with close personal relationships. Now, the original study group is old now. This is almost always supplied by their life partner, their marriage. People with strong, close personal relationships, by every metric, were better off. Physically, mentally, they felt less physical pain.
I was saying this in a previous video. Like, I said this in a comment, and it got like thousands of likes on it, where somebody was talking about the nuclear family, and I said the nuclear family was a mistake, because back when people had extended families, and there was like, I'm gonna make a video on it in the future, but back when people had extended families, like there was more of a sense of community, and people were just generally happier. But like, the nuclear family makes people in the family more unhappy, because there's less people, unless you have like 5 kids, which is unsustainable. Everyone can't have 5 kids, right? So most people are going to have like 1 or 2 kids, and then that's going to be a very empty household, and everyone's going to be on their laptops and unhappy. And then on the other side of it, you have people who aren't in a relationship and aren't married, so they don't even have that. So then those people are completely isolated. So that's what I was saying, and there's a lot of people who agreed with me.
And with their old age, in feeling this physical pain, they felt less demoralized by the pain. Having a strong relationship, especially as you get older, your body gets weaker, it's quite important for your happiness, according to the longest running study of human happiness. So with that being said, a successful relationship is a lifelong bond with children, most likely sanctioned by marriage. So, what are the chances of this relationship happening? For me, for anyone like me. By the way, I use relationship in quotes because that's a new term. It used to just be, oh, there's a girl, we're married. If you think about the term, it's extremely vague. It doesn't actually mean anything. We're in a relationship. And now it's gotten even more vague with a situationship. It doesn't even the relationship is already vague. Now it's a situationship. What the fuck are you even talking about? So how many so-called relationships succeed? Besides all this Chad lookism kind of goofy shit, this is the real black pill. There are two endings to a relationship: breakup and marriage. As high as 85% of dating ends in breakups. 85% of people will have gone through a breakup. The average relationship lasts around 2 or 3 years. People will have gone through about 5 relationships before they get married. The marriage rate is just over 30%. Most people are getting married in their late 20s, early 30s. So yeah, the marriage rate is already quite low, but how many marriages themselves are successful? Again, success to me includes children. I'll mention here that less than half of Zoomer women even want to have children. 30% of marriages are childless. Childless marriages are more prone to divorce. Another 20% are only children. I'm including this because growing up as an only child is quite sad usually, and it fucking blows. You've probably heard that the divorce rate is about 55%. It isn't just the divorce rate, but the amount of marriages that arguably should be divorced on account of certain factors. We can't know the exact number of these because it's much more qualitative, but dead bedrooms, they're just staying together for the kids, they don't want to go through the process of being divorced, so that's not very good. I'm not saying don't try.
He is going ham on that doll head.
I'm still going to, but it looks pretty grim. You know, dudes obsessing over looks and not being able to get laid is kind of a chronically online diversion. This in itself is mostly driven by social ineptitude, which is a consequence of a lack of community. And there is a lack of community because there's no family. Family is the prototype for all community. A return to community requires a return to family. A return to family requires a sacrifice in personal action. People always talk about returning to community, wanting that back, but the truth is we have been freed from communal bonds and pursuits. There's a tendency to offload the whole problem into something like places not being walkable, walkability. Well, Tokyo and many parts of Europe are perfectly walkable, and they're facing the same thing. Our libertine modern utopias want all the benefits of tightly knit communities while paying none of the costs of individual freedom. It seems to me like there's actually nothing fair or moral about human sexual behavior, and we actually just can't be left to our own devices and expect things to work out. Instead of family formation, we now find a dating scene, which almost inevitably turns into a shit show. A modern date is basically just an interview with a stranger.
That's such a good quote. What was I gonna say? I was just gonna say that one thing people need to think about is, why is sex so important? When I was growing up, people did not talk about it as much as they do now, like nowhere near as much. Like people were just because people just did not care. Like you had that one uncle who had like a stack of Playboys in his closet, and then like other than that, it was just your mom and dad every once in a while just banging it out. Not my mom and dad because they're divorced, but I don't know. It's like why is it so important now? You know what I mean?
Where you used to be set up in a community where you already know each other. There's nothing weird about it. I know almost inevitably there are going to be people saying, oh, you're thinking about this too much. I mean, I guess it's possible. I never really wanted to. I wish things would just work out, but the reality is the reality. And also a counterpoint, maybe you're not thinking about it enough. It's actually exactly the problem. There's no foresight. There's no planning ahead. It's all just completely reactive. The way we matchmake in the West now is all short-term, reactive, responding to things as opposed to long-term planning, which is what it always used to be. Communities, your family, your community actively works planning ahead in matchmaking you. Now you're just on your own. In order to maintain our civilization, high investment parenting, monogamy, and higher birth rates are required. And none of these things are being met. And for most people, it doesn't even seem like there's an effort for these type of things to be met. So in this way, it is in fact over. Can these things recover? I don't know. Maybe. I'm like 13 years old. I don't have solutions or prescriptions. But, you know, I'm chilling. It'll be worked out. Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, keep on mewing. I'm sure that'll help, you fucking idiot.
All right. Well, what I have to say is this. First and foremost, dating apps have to go. Dating apps have to go because it creates this illusion of choice that it kind of skews the way people think. If you can go on a dating app and see 10 people who all want to date you at the same time, that's going to mess with the way you think. And then you're really not going to be receptive to a relationship until way later, like when you look completely different, which is happening to a lot of people. Let's see. I also think that marriage being a legal contract is something that needs to go away because it's kind of turning it into a business. Like, it shouldn't be a business because then people are just going to get together and then realize that they effing hate each other, and then the kids get screwed over. So that's another thing. And I think my final point here would be people need to ask why sex is so important now. Because like I said, when I was growing up, it wasn't as like kids, like I see kids in like 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade who are like freaky, and it's just like they shouldn't even be thinking about that. When I was in 3rd grade, like we thought girls had cooties. Like we actually genuinely thought that. And I'm not like, it's like not that way. Like cooties don't even exist anymore. So like, it's like, why is it so important now? It's because rap music, you know what I mean? Like this, like the sexual imagery is just pushed on like everyone's psyche so much. And then it also piggy banks off the fact that there really isn't that much enjoyment in society. Like when people, like when society kind of gets like when there's like economic turmoil, it's like people like run to entertainment, and one form of entertainment is sexual entertainment. So I think it's a little bit of that. So That's all I have to say about that, basically. But leave a comment. Let me know what your thoughts are. That's all I got for now. Subscribe if you want to. I'm out. Peace.